kind of prepping for this thing. And I was like, all right, Chef Anthony, we all got to look good tomorrow. Like, this is kind of like a Mike Ferry webinar. I mean, seminar. We got to make sure we have our shirts pressed and like we shave and everything, because Mike is real, intense on this. I don't need him getting mad at anyone on this video call. No, I'm kidding. We'll wait here and
how many do you anticipate?
About 70.
Good. That's excellent. Okay.
It'll be good. I was gonna share a little bit of my office. I bought this painting, it's Frank Sinatra in Palm Springs. Like, it's 6 feet tall, but you know how you got it, it's huge, but you know how you say you always have to have inspirational things in your office and that kind of thing. So
oh, that's fun. Good for you.
Good deal. Let me see where we're at. We got 2 more minutes, and
so Mike, how's Sabrina?
She is terrific. Thank you. Yeah, everybody is fine. We haven't been out of the house in probably 32 days because we made a decision to become restricted to the company several days before the government put that law and rule into effect. So we're very used to this. I have to tell you, it was kind of fun though. Not having been on an airplane in about 35 days is a little shock to my system.
Yeah.
I'm used to being at the airport every day. So it's been a nice change. You're doing well too, I hope?
Yes, everybody's doing well on my end as well.
Good.
Okay. We'll wait. Is Vegas pretty empty right now, Dad, or?
Let's put it this way. When there are 2 people driving on the strip, it's a crowd. Okay.
It's a crowd. Wow.
We normally have 850,000 people show up every weekend in Las Vegas. And of course, for the last 5 or 6 weeks, we've had 0. So
Start this thing. So I'm gonna do a little introduction for you, Dad. And because some of these people on this webinar, they're probably a little bit younger.
You're going to be asking the questions, correct?
Yeah. But I'm gonna be asking the questions, but I want to do a little bit of introduction for you. So Mike Ferry is considered to me, and if you the Michael Jordan of real estate. He's made more millionaires in this business than anyone else. He's been doing it for 45 years. But when you go to a Mike Ferry seminar, you have 5,000 people there, and they're all dressed really nice. I mean, like Katie, they don't have on like t-shirts or anything. They're all like dressed to the T. And so there's 5,000 people there, and each row has 100 people. Okay, so there's 50 rows, 100 people each. The first 2 rows, which is 200 people, are all agents that make $3 to $5 million. Wow. So the power of when you go to one of these seminars, is you go there and you see this person on stage that you're thinking, man, I'm probably better than this person is. But they're just following a system, but they're professionally dressed and they look really good up there. And so you go to one of these seminars and it really changes your life. I know there's a lot of agents of ours that I don't think they mind saying that, like, you changed her life. I had one of them, she was thinking about getting out of the business, Mike. And then I convinced her to go to this webinar, and she did 100 deals last year.
Good for her. That is outstanding.
So this guy's like a life-changing for some of the people in this webinar. If you never attended with Mike. And like I said, one of the cool things about Mike is he knows everybody because he's the best and he's been doing it for so long. So Ray Kroc, the founder of McDonald's, Kitty, he knew him. He knows Tiger Woods and his dad real well. So like anyone, ask me why he knows these people.
Why?
Because he loves to study excellence. And like when you study excellence, you can like pick, little, things off each one, how they do it. So it's truly an honor to have you made our company amazing, and that's why we promote your teaching style so much. So I'm going to start off with a question here, Dad. So the first one is, should we expect a substantial decline in the business if this continues for a prolonged period of time?
Well, I think there's probably many answers, Alex and Shep, to that question, but I think the most important answer is, and you said it, those agents that are mentally strong, those agents that have developed good skills are not going to be affected in a big way by this particular problem. You know, if you look at the industry in the US, no matter what happens this year, we'll do 4 million transactions. And that is an absolute worst case, total depression type of trend, you know, number I'm giving you. And it's probably going to be well above that. Here's what's really fun for your agents. And you and I have talked about this, Alex, many times. As the number of transactions declines a little bit, which it is no question doing, the number of people participating in real estate is declining at a much faster pace. So the good people that work for your company, the good people that follow the advice of the three of you in the training department, you're going to succeed no matter what happens. But what's interesting is if an agent is not mentally prepared and they don't have good skills, it's going to be a tough time. So I'm going to ask everybody to write down 3 words, because here's the 3 words that I think make the difference. Now, for you 3, you're going to smile when I say these 3 words, because you're going to say, oh, I think Mike Ferry has had something go wrong in his head, okay? Because my approach is very strong. My approach is very direct. My approach is common sense. And if agents don't understand common sense, then my approach doesn't make sense. But the 3 words I'm asking everybody to focus on today: empathy, number 1.
Wow. Okay.
Because more than ever, you and I, as representatives of buyers and sellers, have to be empathetic to what's going on in their lives. Now, we all think that our lives are all a mess because of this particular virus, but the truth is, the real problem is not the problem you and I deal with. The problem is what's going on with our buyers and sellers. Empathy is the first word. Kindness is the second word, kindness. We have to be a lot more kind to people because they're under a lot of stress today. Because the average homeowner is under stress, the average buyer is under stress, the average agent's under stress. And then the third word, empathy, understanding, and then empathy, kindness, and understanding. I'm trying to understand where the buyers and sellers are coming from.
Okay.
And as long as we try to understand, we're going to be empathetic and kind to the people. So Alex, my answer is, if we see this last a long time, you know, we're all, I think the state of Georgia is going to be one of the first states to reopen businesses. I saw that yesterday. So, you know, hats off to you guys. I'm thrilled for you. We think Nevada is going to be opening up very soon, which we're excited about. Instead of having no tourists on the strip, we might have 2 show up on a weekend. But I guess the point is, it's not going to last a long time. There is no economic reason why this should last a long time. However, for the agents that are not prepared, it's going to last a long time, okay? But see, they can't do well in a good market. So they're going to have a hard time in a questionable market. So I'm not concerned about your agents because of the quality of what you 3 do all the time with your agents. I hope that helps the agents get a better understanding.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, that does. Anthony, why don't you ask the second question?
Okay, so Mike, my question is, the public, of course, is nervous about how long this will last. Do I keep those leads or that say maybe we'll do something when this ends? How much do I press them? And what do I do with these leads?
Well, first of all, thank you, Anthony, because as a trainer for the company, you know that is a challenge that your agents face. So thank you for that. The biggest thing we're seeing today, and if there's one word that defines a good agent in this market, it is the word motivation. Understanding the prospect's motivation. Diving into and trying to determine that motivation. Because, see, in the past, you've always heard me say the same thing. If a person wants to buy or sell in the next 7 to 10 days, you know, you stay on them nonstop until they buy or sell. And then I've always said, get rid of the rest of the people. Look for the right now business. So Anthony, you're going to get a kick out of this. This is not what you've heard me say in the past. Bucket A is for those people that want to buy or sell today. And there's a lot of them everywhere. But then we're asking, Anthony, the people to create bucket B. And that is those people, Anthony, we're thinking about buying, we're thinking about selling. We want to wait till this crisis is over. So the question then is, what are you going to do with those people? And my answer is, you're going to follow up every 8 to 10 days, phone call, email, text, etc. You're going to furnish them with valid information, market stats, neighborhood reports, etc., that can help them attach themselves to you and your name. If this thing opens up in, say, 3 weeks, 6 weeks, the floodgates of people that are out there wanting to do something are going to come back in the market quick. Anthony, you and I know they're going to come back to the agent they've had the best communication with.
Right.
So this bucket B is really vitally important for all of your agents today. But bucket A is always those that are highly motivated. Bucket B are those that have the desire but don't have the ability now. So the communication with these people is vitally important. And I really can't stress that enough. At the same time, if they're not paying attention to the people in bucket B, when the market opens up, they're going to go buy and sell from somebody. We'd rather have it be with your agents than somebody else. So thank you. That's a great question. Appreciate your asking.
Thanks, Mike.
Good deal. Hey, Dad, Shep's going to ask the third question here.
Okay,
Please.
Mike, question, if I'm going to prospect, who should I be calling?
I get such a kick out of that, Shep. You're going to laugh too, because they've got to take the word if out of that question.
Right, right.
Pretend like the word if is no longer in your vocabulary, okay?
It should be when I prospect.
Thank you. It's
Okay.
because it's interesting. A couple of years ago, I got a phone call from Marriott Corporation, and we're doing a big convention here in Las Vegas for all their salespeople. And they called and said, Mike, would you come and speak to our Marriott salespeople? And I said, well, of course, my job is to speak, and they were going to pay me, so I'm going to show up, and it's in my hometown. So it was an ideal situation. And I'm a huge, huge client of Marriott Corporation. So I have nothing but respect for these people. I said, why would you hire a real estate trainer to speak to all your top Marriott salespeople? Listen to the answer. Because you're the only guy that tells salespeople they have to prospect. Nobody tells them they have to prospect but you. And we've watched all your little YouTube videos, and you keep saying you have to prospect. So watch. Shep, if is out the window.
Right.
They're going to prospect more than ever before. So watch this thought. This little cell phone 6 weeks ago was the enemy of almost every real estate salesperson. Today, it is your greatest advocate. It's your greatest friend, because 90% of the world is home by themselves. They're sitting there with their dog, their cat, their kids, their spouse, and they're all ready to punch somebody's lights out, because this home isolation is a challenge for people at a level they never anticipated. Here's what all the good agents are saying today. You guys will like this. I call 25 people, 22 answer.
Yeah.
6 weeks ago, I called 25 people, 5 answer. So there's 3 people that they have to be calling. Number 1, past clients. Absolutely, that is set in stone, because the past clients, the truth is, a good agent is a real estate resource center for their past clients. They're the one person we can count on, which is the good real estate agent, to inform the past clients of what's taking place in the market. Second, of course, and you've heard this a million times, they're centers of influence, because those people are really nervous. We have to be the calming force to help them understand the market. But here's where the money can be made. Okay, so Shep, what is your wife's name?
I'm single, Mike.
So your wife's name is Single Man. Okay, so
Her name's Single. Yes.
Yeah.
So
hey,
let's
Dad,
use you.
I was going to say, I think Shep needs to use some of these scripts for dates.
Yeah, could you write me a script for dating, Mike, please?
I think we need to take this thing to a new level, not just sales, but dates too. And we can
We're going to write some new scripts for Shep.
I need them, Mike.
But picture this, a homeowner Saturday morning in normal times pulls out of their driveway with husband and wife. They drive down the street a block, and there's a for sale sign. Normal conversation in that car. I wonder how much it's listed for. I wonder if it's as nice as ours. I wonder where they're moving to. Those are normal conversations. Today, those conversations don't exist because everybody's homeward bound. So today, when your agents do their just listed and just sold phone calls, they are the best information source for the neighborhood. And think about it this way. All of a sudden, Alex and Shep and Anthony, your agents really look good in the eyes of the homeowner because we're calling to share the good news of what's happening in the neighborhood. Instead of the, when do you plan on moving? It's first of all, is everybody healthy? Is everybody fine?
Mhm.
By the way, are you familiar with the home down the street that's on the market? Is that something that you're interested in whatsoever? Can I answer any questions for you? So all of a sudden the dynamics of the call change, and then the public is looking at you guys agents and saying, wow, these Century 21 people, they're really good to hang around with. They're good to talk to. And that's what we're trying to establish in these uncertain times. So I'm going to say, Alex, past clients, centers of influence, just listed, just sold, and then of course by owners expireds, as we would almost always do. So I'm seeing agents producing at a much higher rate. Just before I came on the call, I got an email from one of the agents up in Virginia.
Mhm.
Mike, I've taken 9 listings in the month of March and already taken 3 in April. Watch, that is outstanding. And then he said, all I'm doing is staying on the phone. So we're going to talk about the schedule of an agent in a few minutes, but if we can just get them to understand that the most important thing they can do today is talk to people. That's the whole game today. Thank you, Shep, for asking that question.
Thank you, Mike.
All right, Dad, here's the 4th question. You keep talking about doing everything on a virtual basis. Tell me what that means and how do I prepare for it?
Well, I think the virtual society we're living in today, Alex and Shep and Anthony, as people running a very successful company, it is the best thing that is going to change our industry in a positive manner for the next 25 years. I think the whole virtual technology thing is going to do something that we never anticipated in a positive manner, mainly because of speed and efficiency. See, here's what's interesting. Last week, I did our production retreat that we do in January in San Diego. We do it every April up in Toronto. We'll have 500 to 600 great agents in Toronto. They're just a wonderful audience. Well, of course, the facility called and said, you can't do it. So we decided to do a live stream like we're doing here today with the 4 of us and all of your great agents. Well, we decided, okay, let's keep selling the tickets to the program, even though it's in 3 weeks and we've basically sold it out. We sold 1,000 more tickets in 3 weeks.
Wow.
To people that would never attend a live meeting, that would never fly halfway across country, that would never go to a hotel, that didn't want to spend the money, etc., that would buy a ticket. So here's what I'm suggesting to all your agents. The virtual reality that we're working with today is going to be the common sense reality of our future. However, we have to prepare our sellers. Okay, what are we telling our sellers on a virtual showing? What are we telling our sellers on how we're going to make a virtual listing presentation? We have to prepare the buyers 100%. So on the buyer side, if we don't pre-qualify 100%, we're wasting everybody's time. If we don't have a buyer pre-qualified by a lender, which has always been done virtually anyhow, they don't sit with the buyer and pre-qualify in person. It's done by phone. So the real truth is, and you two and Anthony are demonstrating it right now. Watch. The hardest part of the virtual, Alex and Shep and Anthony, is the agent getting used to sitting in front of a camera and making a presentation. So before, when we would role play on the phone with each other, now we have to role play on things like Zoom. Well, okay, so watch this. Since March 15th, I've done 75 of these webinars, okay, in the last 5 to 6 weeks for all of our great brokers like you folks. So think about this. I did the first one, and after I hung up after the webinar, I said to my wife, Sabrina, this is not going to work. And she goes, what's the matter? I said, I do a retreat and I've got a full-time makeup artist in the back pasting my face together so I can look reasonable when I walk out on the stage. And the camera's 600 feet away. I'm sitting in front of these great brokers and agents, and they can see everything that I've done wrong in my life on my face. I need okay. Well, see, the truth is, it's our ability to smile, to be professional like the three of you are, to sit in a professional surrounding like you're sitting in.
Mhm.
See, if we don't get used to doing that, last week, and this is with a broker that you guys know well, and at one point he said, do you mind if I put the pictures of about 20 agents on the webinar on the screen? I said, okay. Now, first of all, I'll never do that again, because here's 20 agents at home,
Yeah.
quote, quote, working, two guys in the corner, t-shirts, baseball hats on backwards. A lady in the left-hand corner. Now watch, no makeup on. That's frightening in itself, okay? Eating a salad with a toothpick in her mouth. I said to the three of them, if you get a phone call from a seller that says, can you make a presentation right now? You can't do it. So the biggest thing with virtual is understanding the benefits, but understanding also that it's a different level of preparation, okay? And, well, we have so many great agents around the country. This came in about 2 weeks ago. Scottsdale, Arizona, very big city, a lot of traffic. The gal told me, one of our clients, 1 hour drive to a normal listing presentation, 30 to 40 minutes there, an hour drive home. She goes, we can't leave the house. So I did 3 listing presentations today in 1 hour, got 3 listings signed, and never left my home. The efficiency that your agents are going to experience will increase productivity of every agent because of the virtual side of what we're doing. So okay, so let's take one more thought.
Okay.
A listing presentation, we've always pre-qualified by phone. That's virtual. We used to mail or deliver the pre-listing package. Now we can email it. That's virtual. But now we have to have the courage to sit like this and talk to people and follow the scripts that we have. That's where the practice comes in. Handling objections are going to be done virtually, and we're going to use DocuSign or .loop or one of those to get a contract signed. So I am so excited about the future of real estate based on what's happening today. Best thing ever for all of your agents. Thank you, Alex. That was a great question.
I like that, Dad. Embracing technology. Like, that's good.
Yeah.
Hey, Anthony, ask number 5, please.
Okay. I just want to make a comment, Mike, before I ask the question is,
Please.
we were actually going in that direction as realtors anyway, because with the .loop feature and things like that, we were becoming mobile agents before this whole crisis actually took place. So
Yes.
I think that's a valid point that you made. So,
But I think, Anthony, if I may, I think the difference is now we have to, before it was an option.
absolutely.
And I think the fact that we have to now allows you and I to better prepare the agents for what they have to do. So thank you.
Absolutely.
Please.
So many people feel that, the world is kind of coming to an end, but based on your experience, haven't we seen like similar trying times in the past?
You'll get a kick out of this. Anthony, how long have you been in real estate personally?
Coming up on 17 years.
Good for you. Congrats. So you've earned that whiteness in your beard.
That's right.
I've earned this gray hair, let me tell you. So if you can picture this, 1972, I was a real estate agent in Southern California. December, I had 3 closings in the month of December 72, 2 FHA and 1 conventional. The interest rate for all 3 buyers was 18.5%. 18.5%. In 73, we were closing buyers at 20 and 21%. So we've seen worse. Now, can you imagine, Anthony, you're standing up and doing a training session for the company. Well, yesterday interest rates were 3.2 and today they're 18.5. I mean, these agents would shoot themselves before they would ever get that to a buyer. How about this? 1987, Black Monday, the largest stock market crash in the history of our country up to that point, besides 1929. And most of us thought that was the end of the world.
Mhm.
We made it through. The most terrifying moment, probably for all of us, was 9/11, okay? Especially for those people that live in the New York region. I mean, that had to be the most terrifying moment ever. I had a superstar retreat, Anthony, in Miami Beach, Florida, 1 month later. We had 2,600 people had bought a ticket. 500 attended because they were terrified. We made it through. 2007 to 2012, trillions of dollars lost. 5-6 million people displaced out of their homes because of bank repossessions. We made it through. So I've been through 5 major problems in real estate and a dozen minor ones, okay? And quite honestly, this is a huge problem we face today health-wise. But my son Matthew has a great expression, and he always says the same thing: this too shall pass. We're going to make it through. The greatest thing about the American public is resiliency. We have the ability to come back no matter what's going on. And that's what we have to focus on all the time. And yeah, it's tough. We have appointments being canceled and listings being withdrawn and buyers deciding not to do something at this time and sellers asking us to wait and closings being delayed. Credit scores now are at 700 instead of 550. Oh my gosh. We're going to make it through this. We always make it through this. I am so glad you asked that question. As you can see, I'm a little passionate about it. Okay. Thank you for asking.
Is that you? Yeah. Shep, you guys, hey, for the people on this webinar, just so you know, like Tom and Tom Ferry and Matthew Ferry are coaches too. And Katie, Mike always has this joke because he says, my sons always say their dad has a PhD. And you're like, what? Mike's like a math, in math or something? No, it's like PhD. Papa has dough, right?
It makes a big difference, let me tell you.
PhD, yes.
And I'm,
All right. Hey, Shep, ask number 6.
All right. Mike, another question we had was, Mike, you have one of the strongest mindsets. How do you control the power of fear and negativity that we see today, and how do you overcome that?
you know what, I just dictated a quote, which you guys will get a copy of later this morning. So I'm going to read it to your great sales team. Never waste a second of your life complaining. Complaining doesn't solve problems. It attracts them. The more we complain, the more problems we have. And the more you infect other people with your problems. Don't be an infection, be the cure. Well, that's really what it's all about. I wrote this quote next to it, and I want to give you, Alex and Shep and Anthony. I wrote it because I wanted to send it to our mutual friend, Neil Schwartz. So here's what I said to Neil. It's a full-time job not listening to the negativity in the world today, as it is a full-time job working to keep your mindset strong. So I'm going to suggest to all of your agents, Alex, stop listening to the news. Stop watching the news. I haven't watched or listened to the news in 40 some years because there's nothing on the news that is going to enhance my life. Okay, stop social media, for goodness sakes. Social media today is a negative thing because it's people posting their personal opinions with no facts. So here's what I tell people all the time. They have to learn, like Alex is doing now, smiling, nodding your head, and not listening to negative people.
That's
So
right. Dad, let me ask you a question though. I see you on LinkedIn. That's kind of like a social media thing.
Yes, but that's business to business, okay? And every morning at 6 o'clock and every night at 6 o'clock, I'll spend about 15 minutes seeing which of my customers are doing something that I can say congratulations to. But you'll notice I'm not getting involved in any lengthy negative conversations ever with anybody on those kind of dialogues because it doesn't do any good. Okay. So
you don't watch like cat videos on YouTube or Facebook or anything, right? You don't watch cat videos on Facebook. I'm just joking.
Here's what I watch. I watch people like Darren Hardy or Zig Ziglar or Earl Nightingale. I watch Tony Robbins. I watch Brian Tracy. I do that every day, a couple times a day. So what I want your agents to do is to take 2 or 3 mindset breaks a day, where they just take 15 minutes and they sit back and read 5 or 6 pages of a good book, watch an inspirational speaker, okay? Watch a training session. You know, watch something that is positive and good, because there's so much negativity out there all the time. And that negativity grows inside your head at a pace that we can't control. You don't have to water negativity, okay? It grows by itself. So I guess to answer Shep's question, I was trained by Earl Nightingale, Dr. Gunther Kloss, Mike Vance, and the training was always the same. Don't ever allow negative thoughts into your head. So therefore, I rarely, if ever, let negative thoughts into my head. And your agents can do and have to do the same thing, in my opinion, and they can control it. That was a great question. Thank you for asking.
Good deal. So, like, before I ask my last question, Dad, what's the last real motivational thing you watched or read? Yes, like this week.
Well, there's a wonderful book out, and if you've never read it, I have it sitting right here on my desk. I keep it here full time. Okay, it's a book by Jim Rohn, and I read it all the time. It's called Leading an Inspired Life, and I will open up this book sometimes 3 times a day.
Okay.
I'll read Leading an Inspired Life by Jim Rohn. It's just a spectacular book. A second book that I will read throughout the week, Alex, very common, is a book by Earl Nightingale called The Essence of Success. And it's just a wonderful book. You can open up to any page and you feel good, you feel inspired, you feel better about yourself. So I read those 2 books almost every day. Now, here's something that people don't like to hear. The book Think and Grow Rich, I've read it 100 times in my life. The same book. And the reason I read it 100 times is, to me, it's the most important book outside the Bible that we could ever read. So, you know, for me, in the life I'm trying to live, we have to be inspired. We have to have good thoughts. And the more of that we fill in, the better off we're going to be. So thank you for asking that.
Good deal. Yeah, one of the books that you told me to read from your seminars that I just finished reading that I really enjoyed was Psycho-Cybernetics. That's a really good one.
It's a fabulous book. Fabulous. Yeah, thank you. I'm glad you read it.
Yeah, that's a good one. All right, so the last question here. Should an agent lower their expectations for the year 2020?
If they're not any good, yes. If they're trained by you guys, no. Okay. If they're trained by Mike Ferry and Alex and Shep and Anthony and the whole management team, see, here's the interesting part about it. This is a hiccup. Okay. If I burp and hiccup, I don't run to the doctor. This is a hiccup in our life. Now, here's what's interesting. It's a 12-month cycle. We set a business plan in January for the year. We do a quarterly review at the end of March. So January, February, first 2 weeks of March, yay. Last 2 weeks of March, first 2 weeks of April, oh my gosh, this is horrible. I don't change everything I'm doing because of a hiccup in my business. So what I'm asking your agents to do, Alex, I want them to write a 1-month plan for the month of May and a 1-month plan for the month of June. And then at the end of each month, we review to see where we are. At the end of 6 months, if they're 10% off, we make the right adjustments. But we don't panic and change our plans based upon a hiccup that takes place economically, physically, mentally, and emotionally. So I'm saying, do not lower your standards, raise your skills, improve the quality of your business, improve the quality of your mindset instead of lowering your standards. Or in essence, as you and I have kiddingly said, never take the path of least resistance, okay? It doesn't lead any place good, that's for sure. Gosh, I hope you've had a great turnout for this today.
No, it was good. We had about 75 people, so it was a good turnout. And what I want to say is I really want to thank you for this, because you made a tremendous impact. I don't want to sound cheesy here, but you made a tremendous impact on in the lives of our agents and our company. And like I said before, some of the people came late to this webinar, but we had agents that were about to get out of business that they were actually looking for other jobs, and one of them closed 100 transactions last year. And you know, a lot of people are always chasing like the newest idea or the most trendiest thing or all this other stuff, but at the end of the day, the basics and this, the beauty of your system is that it's, it's not too complicated, and it's just about following the system. And it's something that's been hatched out over 40 years. You're not like, imagine like if you're trying to create your own script, well, listen, you can do that, but why not, use someone else that's been refining their script for 30 years or 40 years.
You'll get a kick out of this. On one of the webinars last week, one of the agents asked a question. And he started by saying, Mike, I really don't care for your listing presentation script, which is fine. I'm not offended by that. And he said, I've got my own script. And I said, well, can I ask you a question? He said, sure. How many people download your script off the internet each month? He goes, well, nobody. I said, mine are downloaded 25 to 30,000 times a month. Maybe you ought to go with the winner. And he didn't know what to say then. But I want to say something, Alex, which I've never shared with you. Orlando, Florida, at a big resort. John Seid is speaking to about 150 real estate brokers, and he is very complimentary of myself and what I've done for his company. And this real tall, real handsome man walks up towards the end and shakes my hand and said, can we work together? And that man happened to have been you. And that was a big moment for both of us. And I was standing in the back of the room, and I remember. So I want to say thank you for that time that you were kind enough to approach me, and thanks to Shep and Anthony and the whole team. And with that being said, I'll say let's do another one of these in a couple weeks.
Yes, sir.
Let's keep doing these as long as the crazy economy lasts. And thank you to your 75 agents. And I'll sign off by waving and saying nothing but good times ahead.
All right.
Thank you.